don't think that Bola has a moral justification to talk about this issue.
30 seconds.
Because this was the same Bola that left the APC because there was a Muslim ticket. Why did he leave the APC because there was a Muslim ticket then? If not for the fact that it was not going to augur well, and for the fact that we had a lot of complaints on ground.
Right.
And his conviction then was that as a Christian. So the question we should ask him is that what changed?
Right, all right.
Secondly, that's a territorial battle going on. And that goes back to my point about extremism. That these people, they have sponsors, they have intent, they have ideology. In fact, a lot of them perpetrate crimes on Muslim sacred days. So if you say it's about the tenets of a religion, that's why I say let's not go into the rabbit hole of pitting religion against each other. They perpetrate on Muslim sacred days. Right. And what they are doing now is fighting for supremacy.
As of today, the president has not spoken to us. His spokespersons just come in and say whatever they like. The other day, the Minister of Information, who, by the way, I have tremendous amount of respect for, Mohammed Idris. I've never met him. But every time he's on television to speak, I listen to him. He's a professional to the core. 2 or 3 days ago, he gave a brilliant press briefing on, on the situation in this country. And immediately he finished, I don't know how they gave the microphone to Dele Alake. What did Dele Alake say? To destroy everything the minister has said. Dele Alake said, the people driving this narrative as of yesterday.
And Dele Alake, of course, is a minister.
Is a minister for, yes. The people, I'm quoting him, the people driving this narrative are those who lost the election in 2023. How on earth?
Yes, I have to say I was rather,
how on earth could you say a thing like that in this kind of situation?
It's a very surprising thing to have heard him say.
Bola comes in here and then begin to spill all kinds of things. A Republican senator said this to me, a Republican senator said this to me. Listen, if Bola is the face of Nigerian diplomacy today, then we are in worse crisis than we are. And then the next thing he said was, the crime rate in America is higher than Nigeria. My first question is...
anyways, I just want you to please take your time listening to this video. And just watch the video to the end. We'll come back and talk about it. See what your spokesman to media is to President Tinubu said. This is not new again, but to be honest, when you listen to people like this, they are not serious. You can't take them seriously because they themselves know that they are not serious. I know it is your job as a spokesman to deny, to lie, and to everything, but not things that are too obvious. There are things you shouldn't say. There are things you should say. When you say people will listen to you, people will reason with you. But when you continue to spill out some things that does not make any sense, that are not comparable, it is only worsening the situations, not in any way helping the situations or providing solutions to the issues. Do you understand? Now listen to this video from Daniel Bola, what he said concerning these issues of Christian genocide going on in Nigeria. And again, listen to this Ambassador Joe Keshi. This is a former ambassador. Then listen to what he said. Then you will understand the differences, individual differences, isn't it? That people, APC government and the spokesman of president of APC, they are not serious. Not be today, say they are not serious. So just watch the video. We'll come back and talk about it. At this time, we are still playing politics with realities. Leave your comment on this video, share, like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We'll come back and talk about it, please.
Meanwhile, presidential spokesman Daniel Bola is intensifying his pushback against what he calls a false narrative of Christian genocide in Nigeria. Bola, who has been making multiple global appearances to counter his characterization, appeared on our nightly news program Primetime to discuss the Tinubu administration's approach to insecurity and the diplomatic fallout following President Donald Trump's designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern for religious freedom violations. During the interview, Bola defended the government's record, arguing that the Tinubu administration has made significant progress in tackling insecurity. He went further, claiming that the crime rate in Nigeria is actually less than the crime rate in the United States. Let's take a look.
What's this?
What we call the fallacy of media generalization. And I'm saying that right now, given our present state, the crime rate in Nigeria is less than the crime rate in the United States of America. With all of the budget, the strongest economy and the strongest force in the world. It's a matter of context. You don't hear that in their news. We have our opinion about them. You see, gone are those days where our own story is told by others. Context is key in everything. We know the problems we are combating and we are faced up and we are working towards. But that is not to suggest as if we are an isolated country in this side of heaven that has a peculiar problem that they don't have. The United States of America has even the problem of understanding what democracy is. The other day, was it a 2 million march that they said no king? Is that not a democratic country? I told you about the crime rate in America. Do you know the system? The government was shut down. Our government is not even shut down. You see, this continuous vituperations and reputation of word around corruption, bad governance, bribery, and the rest that they talk about. Which part of the world they don't have that?
Well, actually,
which part of the world they don't have
actually?
Wow. I mean, Wala's controversial argument claiming that insecurity is worse in the United States will definitely raise eyebrows both domestically and internationally. Critics will ask, are we really comparing gun violence in America with mass abduction, bandit attacks, and what many communities describe as religious persecution in Nigeria? Are these comparable situations? I mean, before I come to you, let me, highlight this in the meantime. Armed gunmen disguised in military uniforms carried out coordinated attacks on travelers in Kogi and Kwara states, leaving passengers shot, kidnapped, and stranded along major highways. One of the attacks occurred early Monday morning on Kaba-Okene Highway in Kogi State, where gunmen attacked a commercial bus. One of the passengers escaped. Here's his account of the incident.
Okay, now me escape. Now me, they don't come me enter bush. Fulani. One enter. Wait till they call now. Army soldier, army uniform. Now only one. All of them, they Fulani. They shoot this glass when no enter. Now they're going to use all those Fulani cutlass. They're going to cut and I hear me I sit down. They rapid everybody inside motor. Now they going to carry us go inside bush like this. Now like this they carry us enter. And they carry us enter bush like this. Now I run. Yeah, they don't care all those people they carry load.
Well, hours after the Kogi incident, terrorists opened fire on vehicles along the Ekuku-Egbe Road in Kwara State, forcing travelers to abandon their vehicles and flee into the bush for safety. The Monday attacks followed a deadly ambush on the Ayere-Kaba Road just the previous day, revealing a disturbing pattern of coordinated violence targeting commuters on routes linking two states. The use of military uniforms by the attackers represent a brazen impersonation of security forces, creating confusion among travelers and undermining public confidence in legitimate security personnel. I mean, there are 3 attacks in just 2 days on the same corridor. This is not, just a random banditry, but systematic terrorism designed to paralyze movement and instill fear on commuters. The fact that criminals now brazenly wear military uniforms while the real military struggles to secure highway raises uncomfortable questions about intelligent failures and operation gaps. How many more Nigerians must be kidnapped or killed on our roads before our security agencies mount sustained operations to clear the death traps? Meanwhile, counterinsurgency group Zagazola Makama shared a video on X on Monday showing alleged intense clashes between Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters. According to the group, which has become a key source for tracking insurgent activity in the northeast, the battle resulted in over 100 casualties, with Boko Haram reportedly gaining the upper hand and overrunning several ISWAP camps. And then Vimbai, I ask you this question again. The comparison that Daniel Bola just made about the crime rate in Nigeria being less than the crime rate in America, it's like a slap in the face for many Nigerians. Like I've just highlighted at this moment. We're not talking about gun violence. We're talking about banditry. We're talking about serious terrorism where Boko Haram is in the waters right there, shooting and killing people. 100 as reported by Zagazola Makama just on Monday. Your thoughts?
Well, as a media aide to the president of a nation, the most populous black nation on earth, I would have hoped that he would understand the fundamental distinction between crime and terrorism. So crime is something that is self-motivated. I see an opportunity to rob a bank, I rob a bank. I see somebody wealthy and I think that I can steal their necklace, I steal their necklace. It's an individually driven illegal act. Now, when we speak terrorism, we speak of ideology, we speak of doctrine, we speak of organized groups of people who are doing coordinated acts in order to achieve whatever their end goal is. Look at that exchange between ISWAP and Boko Haram. You can't compare that to crime. Those are organized groups of people, well-funded, well-armed, and now look at them. They're even well-equipped with logistics. They have boats, they have motorcycles, they have all manner of paraphernalia to enable this ideological movement, illegal ideological movement they're pushing. So to try and downplay that and reduce that to crime is a fundamentally flawed argument, because intrinsically they are totally different things. Right. If you go to the United States, you will not see herdsmen with AK-47 terrorizing people who are trying to make a living off of their small plot of land to feed their families. Right. And then when it's time to legislate around restraining the herders and the movement of animals and so forth, it is not a contentious issue in the United States Congress, because there is a well awareness that human beings have greater rights than animals. Right. That's why we talk about fundamental doctrine, ideological differences. Please, let's not compare apples and oranges.
Absolutely. Rufai, he also, though, reeled out to his defense, responding to President Trump's, what's it called, the rescue mission, that, the Tinubu administration has gained a lot after that tweet, and, reeled out the numbers of this people that have been killed so far by our...
So what's your central challenge to the statements made by President Tinubu's spokesman, or one of his spokesmen, Daniel Bola?
Let me start with a story. When I served in Ethiopia, I gave a lecture on Nigeria. And at the end of the lecture, the chairman, former central bank governor under Haile Selassie, said, in summarizing my presentation, said, anytime you meet a Nigerian population is increasing. And as I listen to, all sorts of data on what's going on in Nigeria today and the US trade, I'm reminded of that same story of how, this crisis with the Americans or the American trade has really exposed quite a number of things about the way we handle issues. The leadership behavior itself, in not understanding that in a crisis period like this, your first constituency, the people you should bother about, first are the people who elected you. As of today, the president has not spoken to us. His spokespersons just come in and say whatever they like. The other day, the Minister of Information, who, by the way, I have tremendous amount of respect for, Mohammed Idris. I've never met him. But every time he's on television to speak, I listen to him. He's a professional to the core. 2 or 3 days ago, he gave a brilliant press briefing on, on the situation in this country. And immediately he finished. I don't know how they gave the microphone to Dele Alaki. What did Dele Alaki say to destroy everything the minister has said? Dele Alaki said, the people driving this narrative as of yesterday.
And Dele Alaki, of course, is a minister.
Is a minister for, yes. The people, I'm quoting him, the people driving this narrative are those who lost the election in 2023. How on earth?
Yes, I have to say I was rather,
how on earth could you say a thing like that in this kind of situation?
It's a very surprising thing to have heard him say.
Bola comes in here and then begin to spill all kinds of things. A Republican senator said this to me, a Republican senator said this to me. Listen, if Bola is the face of Nigerian diplomacy today, then we are in worse crisis than we are. And then the next thing he said was, the crime rate in America is higher than Nigeria. My first question is, where's the data? I can't remember when last the Nigerian police ever presented the data on crime in this country. These are the kind of people you send to represent the president or to speak on behalf of the president, and they just create more problems for the president. These are the same people who started the crazy argument that, look, yes, Christians are being killed, but Muslims are also being killed. That's why some of us have to step in to say, listen, even saying that alone, you've destroyed your argument. So you're admitting inadvertently, yes, Christians are being killed, but Muslims are also being killed. And my question is, Muslims are being killed because the government, not necessarily this government, successive government, failed to protect them. But in making that statement, it shows you a lack of empathy for life in this country.
Nevertheless, let me narrow that the focus a bit, because if you condemn Mr. Bola for minimizing Christian persecution, do you equally criticize Nigerian officials who ignore, well, that's what you're doing actually, who ignore Muslim suffering, for example, abductions by Boko Haram, or is it a case of selective outrage?
No, it's the government people who started that argument. And I said, and I keep saying, it's the worst thing to say in times like this. Muslims are human beings as well.
Of course.
They died because those who took an oath to protect life in this country failed to protect them. Not enough protection. And by the way, this thing has been going on for years, 15 years plus. How do we explain that a crisis in Nigeria has lasted for 15 years?
Right, but Mr. Bola, though,
we have no idea the sponsors. We've never arrested anybody. We've never prosecuted anybody.
Well, the government would argue that they prosecuted quite a lot of people and sent a lot of people to jail. They said they've got 17,000 people in various camps across the country.
Fine. Again, present the people. That is why I said,
well, that's what they said they've done. They presented that argument.
In a crisis situation like this, the first port of call is the Nigerian people. This is why the president should honestly speak to us and lay everything on the ground.
No, absolutely.
Look, this is what
I would agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more
mobilize,
on that score.
Say to the people, this is the situation. This is what we plan to do.
Absolutely.
This is what I want to do. And by the way, Charles, we always say this all the time. foreign policy is an extension of domestic policy.
Indeed.
So if you are going to engage the United States, you need to put a few things at home.
Absolutely, and you're an expert in
but
that.
I think
regard.
that it has not been done yet.
Nobody can question that. But I mean, Mr. Bola said that the attacks are slowing, that the evidence suggests that the frequency of attacks is coming down. Do you think frequency matters, or is any denial of severity, any attempt to deny the severity, where a lot of people are still dying, inherently harmful? In other words, how many incidents warrant a label of genocide, and why not apply it consistently? You see what I mean?
Our friend Ahmed, I think, presented the data yesterday, which I saw, I think, on your program yesterday, if I'm right. And the figures, I have no, I mean,
you mean Adamu?
Kabir Adamu.
Yeah,
fantastic. That was very helpful. But what worried me as well was that some Christian groups and some Christian leaders have also been, they are on all networks, social media, presenting their own figures and their own facts. So Ahmed Adamu would have to probably take a look. Kabir would probably have to take a look at that in order for us to have concrete evidence as to what we are speaking to. So you cannot say only 100 were killed here, and you look at videos circulated by pastors from Benue or from Plateau, and they said we have buried 200. On the day you said only 100, people were killed. No, we must speak with data. We need to put all this
together. So in your assessment, this highlights Nigeria's lack of reliable data, which undermines efforts to assess the scale of the problem and allows conflicting narratives to flourish.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this again goes to my point where when things like this happen, the first fellow who should speak and everybody else follows what he has said is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And you have to. And look, while I was saying that he spoke to Republican, senators. This senator said to me, this senator said to me. My argument is it's not a question of whether it's a Republican or a Democratic senator. Nobody has asked the question, how did Ted Cruz get involved in this matter now when this matter has been on the table since 2009? So there's a lot we need to do to understand the crisis itself, why it's coming up today, and focus on how do we deal with the problem. For me, the solution is end the killing.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody would like to see.
In mobilizing national conscientiousness to do this.
But I mean, is it your contention that Mr. Bola is deflecting blame away from the government he serves, which is essentially his job?
His job, yes.
But I don't recall him, though, necessarily denying facts of attacks. Maybe just the context or the way that he's framing it. Is that?
No, absolutely. Even the way it is framed matters. Because, look, people are listening. Look, in a situation like this, let's understand one thing very clear, and I've always said this. Today, we do not live in a world of isolation. We live in a time in which as anything is happening in this country, it's all over the world.
Indeed.
You need to look from overseas. You need to see what Nigerians are sending about the fracas between Wike and the military, from all over the world. Now, some 10, 20 years ago, that would not happen. And as I've said repeatedly, we joined the service when a diplomat was described as someone sent to lie for the country. Today, no diplomat in his right senses would do that.
Well, let me ask you this, since you brought that up. I mean, you were a diplomat yourself. You represented Nigeria in Africa, Europe, America. I mean, you spoke internationally on behalf of the Nigerian government. What's the alternative to the way that Mr. Bola has been speaking? I mean, should he amplify every tragedy? Is that how you would do it if you were a government spokesman, or is measured analysis needed to avoid inflaming tensions? How would you handle it?
No, absolutely. Look, I dealt with this issue in 2009. They can check the records. When I heard that this was a recommendation was going to be made to Mrs. Clinton and then to the president, I think it was Obama then. Fortunately, I was on my way to Washington, and I asked if they can arrange for me to meet the group. And I listened to the group. They made the same, between both of us, myself and the team discussing this. Look, I did not deny that Christians have not been attacked, but I also made the case and listen, this is a complex issue involving ABCD, but this is what the government is doing about it. But their grounds all the time was that, their main anger was that, listen, they've been to this country a couple of times, and no official was prepared to speak to them or tell them exactly what they wanted to find out. And I undertook, and I said to them, if I arrange for you to see all the officials you want to meet, will you come back? They gave me their words that they would come back. They came back. And that was how that of 2009 was dealt with. The point I'm trying to make here is that, look, in a crisis like this, speak to the people with data. For those who are affected, don't begin to deny that it did not happen. And this is why when I said that we need to do a lot more internally, there are a number of groups the president would have reached out to say, look, for example, the Arewa Consultative Group, they've been relatively quiet on this issue. But can they undertake to say, for the sake of this country, for the unity of this country, can they reach out to the people in Benue Plateau and the Christian North and say, let's have a dialogue?
Yeah, well, they've spoken quite a lot, actually. They attended Arise's office in Lagos and all
No,
the
it's not a question of attending Arise's office. It's a question of engaging the people. Yes, to say, look, we understand what you're trying to say.
But you have been quite, I mean, you've been quite strident in saying, and a lot of people would agree with you, that there seems to have been a failure of leadership in this context. Do you believe that external criticism or even interference is legitimate if local leaders aren't living up to expectation?
Charles, if you do not want the devil to get into your affairs, lock your doors, lock your window. The devil won't come in. So if
unless if he's a ghost, he can.
Except he's a ghost,
he can seep through. He wouldn't be bothered by your locked doors, would he?
Those who took the issue abroad because nobody was listening to them in this country. They cried. Even the dead have not received justice.
Indeed.
And so when they realized,
so painful.
Yeah. So when they realized that nobody was listening to them, nobody was even prepared to sympathize with them, they decided to find something else.
Right.
People who would listen to them. And look, the good thing about this, though, is the fact that at least generally Nigerians themselves have come to realize the fact that, look, there's a crisis in the north.
Right.
And that so many people are dying. Because before, people were nonchalant, people were too busy. And in any case, the usual Nigerian attitude is not happening in my zone. So I don't give it down.
Sod it,
yes.
basically.
But right now, when you look at the social media, when you look at conversation, and everywhere, and jokes, by the way, the comedians are having a big laugh, out of this, you find out that Nigerians are more conscious of
but let me ask you this, Ambassador Keshi, because, I mean, you are a diplomat, a seasoned, respected diplomat. If you were to frame the messaging on behalf of the Nigerian government going to the world, would you consider it to be reductive to frame this as a Christian versus Muslim issue when the main point here is systemic collapse that affects everyone? How would you frame that?
I'll probably choose the second option. Because you see, in framing it as Christian versus Muslim, you are inadvertently admitting that Christians are being killed. So you just have to step away from that. Because if you give that impression...
That's what focused attention on this issue.
Yes, that's exactly...
That's what got the attention.
Yes, that's what got the attention.
So you
just got to move away from that, not making that argument that, oh, Muslims also are being killed. No. The best way to frame this is to make people understand the complexity. But you see, the problem again of getting people to understand the complexity is they also begin to doubt the capacity of the country to resolve its problems. How do you explain that this has been going on for 15 years? Yeah. And this is why my position is, forget all the excuses. Forget the Trump what do they call it, threat. Let's do something more dramatic between now and maybe early next year.
So how should that be done? Do you think Nigerians should be pushing their government harder to act? Are we failing to pressure Nigeria's government? I mean,
no, look,
because how are we
the president in putting in place new service chiefs, again gave them the marching order, which I thought was not strong enough. It should have been a deadline to say, look.
Yeah, but we've seen deadlines before.
No, I'm coming. Look,
Buhari gave deadlines.
No, I've always said it. Buhari spent 8 years giving everybody last warning. Until he left, it was last warning. But the president should have been more specific. I want to believe that the president's order needs to be stronger than I had.
Right.
And to say to these people, listen, your continuation in this job in the next 6 months depend on ending this crisis.
Indeed.
And if the president does that, and then speak to us, give us that assurance of other things he's putting in place to ensure that, the de-escalation, as his claim is going on, moves very fast. Of course, Nigerians will appreciate it. And then you cannot go and engage the United States and say, look, these are the things we have done, and we're taking care of the problem.
Ambassador Keshi, absolutely brilliant to have you here. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. And he is, of course, an international political analyst, former Nigerian diplomat who served in Africa, Europe, and the Americas. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja and Lagos. Bye-bye.
I hope you listen to that. Very good. That is former Ambassador Joe Keshi. You see the difference? You see the difference. Now, the thing is Daniel Bola and the other spokesmen to Tinubu or some of the ministers, are they helping matters? No, the answer is no. They are not helping. They are creating more problems. The day this issue started, that was because of the way they reacted to the statement of Donald Trump. It's the same way, the reasons why we are still talking about it, why solutions has not been provided, why they have not done anything about it. Now, this shows the level of unseriousness from the government. If this spokesperson to Tinubu is here at this time, still telling you like this, comparing Nigeria crime rates to America, it shows that they do not even see it as a problem. They do not even see, after that, they said there is no killing, there is no Christian genocide going on. It's the reason why the internationals are even more interested. Why would you say with all these figures, statistics going on here and there, a lot of persons have come out to speak on these issues with evidence? If it is only what Reverend Ezekiel Dachumo is doing, creating awareness, you want to deny all these facts, now you see that these people are not serious. They are not serious. You can't take them for seriously. You can't take them seriously. Especially this one they call Daniel Bola. The other one, they are the foolish oga of them all. Bayo Nanuga. The other one, Alek, what is his name? Adele Alake Abiolo. Yes, they are not serious. They are not helping matters. They are not. They are not. If opposition is even the one responsible for this, opposition will use everything they know they can do to succeed Tinubu in 2027. It is allowed. It is what Tinubu is doing, destroying oppositions. This is what Tinubu knows he thinks he can do to win election. Even if opposition is even responsible, the APC did it before APC introduced this. So it is not new. So you shouldn't be saying all this trash, deceiving or confusing yourself. You think you are helping the president. And now they are threatening president, issuing a statement, releasing tweet here and there, Rally More, the other one, Ted Cruz, and the other one, releasing statement saying that the president is not serious, that they are not seeing level of seriousness from president. When you have this charlatan in government speaking for the government, these people listen to him. Now, if Daniel Bola now speak, they listen. They want to hear something from government officials. Now they not listen to something like this. Somebody is vomiting this trash. What do you expect them to say? They should clap for him. Nonsense. You're comparing America to the US, or comparing Nigeria, rather, comparing Nigeria to the US, that the crime rate in Nigeria is lower than the US. Rubbish. Rubbish. All those crimes, just this guy, this lady have explained that the difference is clear. You can't. How do you know now? There are some things you say, you want people to listen, reason with you, see beyond. I mean, I don't say the difference is not comparable. The comparison is not there. And you want people to sit down and listen to you to say, okay, because you say that the crime rate in America is higher than Nigeria, there's no crime in Nigeria, there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria, there's no killing going in Nigeria. Is that what you're saying? No. If that's what you mean, you are lying. It shouldn't be. Anyways, now you listen. But thank God we have people like, see what this one said? That is the problem. What is Kenneth Okonkwo said the last time. Immediately Donald Trump releases this statement, or even Ted Cruz, first of all, the first thing they could say was to deny, that was to say there is no Christian genocide. It is Christian and Muslim. They are killing Christians, they are killing Muslims. It means that what they are saying, it is true. You are only telling them that it is not just Christians. So that means to say Christians are dying. Yeah, in terms of Christians are dying, that they are telling you that one is confirmed. That has been established. So you are not adding more, that, oh, more people are dying in your country. How? Why? Does anybody deserve to die because we found ourselves in this country? No. So what is your problem? Anyways, I don't even have time for Daniel Bola. So what do you think? And you listen to them. So we have a problem. Solution we all need. If Daniel Bola and APC members, Daniel Bola, Bayo Nanuga, and Dele Alake continue to speak like this, I mean, they are far from the solutions. That is even the worry. They are far from it. Because before you solve a problem, you need to first of all see it as a problem. You need to first of all see it as a problem. Then you look at the nature of this issue, the problem. Then you know the solution you want to provide. You know the area to focus on. You know where to go. But a situation where you are just dismissing, debunking, and you don't even want to listen to anybody except you want people to listen to you because you are in government. If that is the case, you are only prolonging the evil days, and which is not normal. So, anyways, 2027 is not far away. But before then, this problem, they should solve it. They created this problem, and we don't want to keep repeating ourselves again. We just want to see Nigeria is safe for every one of us. You just want to see you sleep and wake up, you close your eyes and wake up, you travel from A to B and you are safe. Nobody is kidnapping you. You can't compare America. Where would you see hundreds of people die at once in America? For what? For what? Where would you see that? They now go to a particular church to go and destroy and kill people and kidnap hundreds of people at once. For what? How? Where are they going to follow? How? Which road they follow? And they are in the bush, keep calling, and any crime you see in America or anyway, they have their way, individual, because of just like this lady have explained. It's happening. Yes, there is these boys, all those, we have bad boys everywhere. If just the bad boys we have in Nigeria, there shouldn't be a problem. All those boys, they are confused. They say they are being, they don't know, or they are looking for what to eat, whatever. They find themselves in this manner, just going to obtain money, or they find themselves robbing the bank, supermarket shops, looking for what to eat. No, that's not what we're saying. And guess what? They commit. The thing is, it will always be possible for you in America. If you want to go and steal, nobody is stopping you. You go and commit that offense. They will catch you. They surely come for you. You will be caught. You go and commit the offense. After you commit the offense, they will come for you. But in Nigeria, it's not the same. Go and commit the offense. You get away with it, and it becomes a problem. Anyways, what do you think? Please share this video and leave your honest opinion concerning this. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and be your guide runner for me.